GM, I don't see you on the camera, glitch. I mean, hidden.
You gotta move me up.
What the hell? What's going on? No, you're already on stage. I don't see you. There you are. Oh, okay, I got you. That was my mistake. I love it. You guys, welcome. We are back on Citizen Glitch with a special 4th of July edition. Hidden Gems here, aka Nicholas Paul. You know, he goes by many names. He actually had some controversial ideas for what he wanted to do for the stream that could potentially get us banned from X. Do you want to tell everybody, Nicholas, what some of those ideas were?
Well, that's quite a way to start it off, Red.
Okay, I don't have to tell people.
Like, we gotta tell them now. We can't just leave it like that.
Okay. Tell them. Okay. He said he should dress like Christopher Columbus, and I should be
dressed like me, in the best terms.
Right, of course. Okay, so wait, don't you want me to be like your colonizer or something?
Or you would be Christopher Columbus, and I would be in full tribal regalia of my bow and arrow going at you.
Okay, so if you guys didn't know, Hidden Gems, aka Native Gems, he's also a what? Let's tell the audience a little bit about you and why this is going to be a fun thing for us to discuss, particularly today because of your dual citizenship.
Well, the dual citizenship's a little silly, but I am, in fact, Native American, according to the government.
You're not Native Canadian?
I'm Native Canadian. Well, on the card, it specifically says Certificate of Indian Status, but, you know, they call us Indigenous. But, yeah, that gives us dual citizenship. But, you know, if you can see, I'm not pretty dark, you know, so because my mom, she's half. I mean, you put 2 and 2 together, and then you got light-skinned Indian. And it gives us quite the advantage here. So now maybe you guys will see me at TezCon.
You might come to TezCon?
Maybe. Depends on what y'all do. I want to see you. Well, you drove all that way out there first.
Yeah, but okay, like that's another story, like that we'll get into. I didn't drive here just to perform at TezCon. Yes, originally I did drive here because I'm being sponsored by Seattle Musicians Association, thanks to Fendel de la Creme, who is my newest music producer. I get to meet him in like an hour and a half, y'all, in real life, which is very exciting. But like there was a lot of things that kind of happened. I've been making excuses to not get out of LA for a while. And I just took it as a sign. I called him and I said, I'm moving to Seattle indefinitely. For those of you who know me, you know I'm Mary fucking Poppins. And you know what that means. When will I leave? When the wind changes. Okay, so let's get into, you know, today's topic because it is, you know, 4th of July. I know that brings up a lot of mixed emotions for some Americans and for just kind of people in general. But so we're gonna talk about the good, the bad, the ugly, but also just, you know, where things can be good. So the fireworks are going to be popping, right? The simulation is glitching. We got neighbors in the north here in Canada, like Hidden, we just mentioned here. And they're passing laws bill like C9. And those laws, you know, criminalize speech and squeeze, you know, homeschooling parents, which is bad. While here, we're kind of just debating what freedom even means. But part of today's glitch here with Citizen Glitch isn't the breakdown, it's the breakthrough, right? So at the end of the Matrix, or towards the main end of the Matrix, what is one of the famous lines, right? Love is the glitch in the system. And in 2026, right, love can look like crypto, it can look like sovereign AI, and the unbreakable spirit of the indigenous sovereignty. And so here's our indigenous, I don't want to say like my brother.
Yeah, that's the only reason I'm here is for today.
I know.
You know, we let up for 10 streams for just today. After this, I'm off to Peru, and I'm going to be sitting there, you know, making clips for Red to make fun of me.
Yeah, you do it for both of our brands. I mean, we're going to use both of our brands. I mean, we are sovereign. We're in a sovereign partnership. And I know some of you are like, what the fuck does that even mean? Well, we'll show you over time. kind of what that means. And I think we've already talked about it a little bit, but let's connect the dots, right? Let's connect the dots from the Declaration of Independence, right, to John Perry Barlow's cyber declamation from the Royal Proclamation of 1763 to today's fight for sovereign AI, to preserve indigenous languages instead of erasing them. And this is not just a history lesson today, y'all. It is a field guide to the future. We're talking about how code is the new constitution, how crypto is the new right to bear arms, and why being grateful for America means fighting to keep the glitch alive. All right, so we're celebrating independence on your American side, okay? But up in Canada, Bill C9 just became law, criminalizing certain speech and making life even harder for homeschoolers. So, Nicholas, from your perspective, does freedom just depend on what side of the border that you're on?
I mean, from my perspective, I think you should just be free anywhere you be. You know?
You think what? I'm sorry.
You should just be free anywhere. But
yeah, that makes sense. That makes the most sense.
It does make the most sense. But like, you know, I'm thinking about like that little education thing you were saying, because you know.
What education? I say a lot of shitty things.
Bill C9 you were talking about.
Oh yeah. That in particular, yes.
You know, I've been through a lot of different, like, you know, at 11, up until about 11, grade 6, I was in school. Then on and about after that, I was probably in, up until grade 12, I was in school 300 days total, around that, or something, maybe a little more, from grade 6 to grade 12. And half the time I wasn't even there. So like, but like then I'm here right now, which is a little weird. And then I'm still keeping up with others, which I don't know, I think, and then in between, I find like the different programs I want to do. And like the workers teaching me at home when I was in care, trying to teach me different things. COVID was actually really interesting.
Yeah, but for some people who are new, they don't know that since the 6th grade, you were living in group homes, and now you're just living on your own, never had a job, only had businesses since the age of 17, and now you're the ripe old age of 19.
I'm 19 now. You know, the whole reason we were late today is because I may have been gambling with my grandma.
Wait, you were gambling with crypto?
No, with my grandma.
This gets even better. Carry on, Jem.
You know, and I didn't realize, you know, I'm horrible with time zones. You know, maybe that's kind of like shows that's a whole different story with the little side of the mental illness if you look on the profile. But right now, no, we drove 2 hours speeding. But anyway, with that, I mean, we did had fun, but now we're having more fun. Right now, I'm just curious. I'm just looking through what the robots are saying.
You're looking at the robots? Okay, well, that's fun. All right.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, like, yeah, in terms of that, do you have any commentary on that bill at all? Or any thoughts on that?
I think, I don't know, the 16-year-old thing with them, they've been trying to like limit things in Canada for a long time. Not just that bill. And like I get for mental health. That understands for mental health, right? That makes a lot of sense when it comes to mental health, like trying to limit certain things that people see and sensitize that. But it's also like trying to bring into the fact that that has the same power as someone, say, in a care home or in a bad living situation, who are having these people constantly saying this stuff to them. I mean, there's a difference, but like then there's people who will say, just turn the phone off. But then again, like some people don't have that simple. I don't know, but to like criminalize certain things like that. And I mean, with schools, I thought the whole point of schools was to look like that like robot Disney movie to where it's all holograms and stuff. And like we learn everything with full scale AI, and we pick our degrees. Like whenever I was sitting there with all those college kids that were trying to like raise me, or adults who were trying to raise me, all the same thing. They're all trying to do college at the same time and trying to get the psychology degree or whatever they're going. Some of them it wasn't even related. And I always just sat there and thought, it's like, if they just started teaching me like college stuff in really simple ways, which they kind of do up in elementary school in Canada really well, but
Yeah.
from there to like up, I don't know, but to have homeschooling, like we're getting pretty close to a little place called like that plays morning ringtones on giant sirens and has you hang up the leader. I don't hang up the leader's picture in their house, you know?
Oh, creepy. Like, you really feel like Canada's going that direction?
Not really, but I feel like there's certain ways.
I'm confused. I thought you just said it is kind
they
of
do. It's like a softcore version of that.
Okay.
That's how I see it. But with, what's your thoughts?
Okay. Like, you kind of triggered me right there when you said like just trying to like giving like a soft core version of it, like under the guise of quote unquote mental health, right? Trying to criminalize speech, trying to take away freedom. That's using marketing speak in an abusive way, and it's abusing people's freedom in a different way. And when you said like, oh, it's just a soft core, it's just a little bit, it's just like that's how you get used to things that are bad. I mean, just get a taste for it, right? There's a Toriema song. I think she talks about that in the song Code Red. Just do this long enough and you'll get a taste for it. And you can get used to just about anything. I've been very vocal about my my hatred for the word normal. Because normal is literally just whatever we become used to. It doesn't mean something's good. It doesn't mean it's bad. It's just whatever you accept. And I've even had people in my past say, when I saw my dad beating my mom, I just thought, well, I mean, it's just normal. I just get used to it after a while. If you're sitting in 5 lanes of traffic every day, you just start to be like, oh, I guess that this is just how life is, right? Or it's like, you feel like, oh, I'm just not allowed to like speak on certain things at this job or that job. Not saying to be disrespectful, but you just to be like, oh, I just get used to it. Giving up more privacy. Well, let's just get used to it. And I really find that very, very disturbing. This whole like whatever. It's just because when the more people just get used to things in little doses, that's how you get them hooked. Think about anybody with a drug addiction. Maybe if you started heroin once, you're into it the first time. But like, I'll compare this to to alcohol addiction. For those of you who know, I've dealt with a few incidences with alcoholics in my life. And one of them, he recovered, and good for him. But he said, I didn't become an alcoholic overnight, I mean, it started out with just drinking, every now and then at parties, to once a week, to twice a week. And then I was a comedian on top of that, and turned into 3-4 nights a week, turned into, I couldn't even wake up in the morning without drinking. Right. And I know that this is like a little bit going off topic, but I think it's kind of a similar way into where people just get used to like getting these freedoms taken away little by little. And so I feel like it's important to bring this up, because as much as we have arguments about how often freedom is respected in America, because it's not all the time. I mean, the fact is that we still have discussions about when it's respected and when it's not. Whereas like you're dealing with laws like this can just straight up take up your rights. Although you have told me so many times that you live in an area, and that being an Indigenous, Native American / double citizen Canadian, you actually are privy to certain rights. Yeah.
Everyone who has Indigenous status
in Canada, no.
At least in Canada, I do know for a fact has dual citizenship.
Everyone in Canada is not also American. Are you talking
Native
about
American? Native American.
Oh, Native Americans in Canada.
Yes, and it really does. Like, some people will say it really depends on who the father or mother is, or if both. And now the whole thing is, now that is the problem, is that when you have mass genocide, it's kind of hard to repopulate once you've condensed all these people. So, like, the joke is don't go for your third or fourth cousin, go for your fifth and sixth. And people, there's all these jokes around it. But in reality, technically, like, it's there's no real way of saving it. We're just gonna all turn. I mean, Christopher Columbus did one heck of a job. I gotta give him that. Oh, it is, but criminalizing speech, I don't think Christopher Columbus would be down with that. You know.
No, I don't think so either. But like, I just like, we had to bring these up, and I knew we were gonna have an interesting conversation because of your dual status, and because I've talked to many other Canadians that left Canada, who didn't have as many rights as you did, just because the censorship was so bad. One of them, I should have him on the stream sometime. He's really awesome. He moved to Thailand many years ago. And I know that's not the right move for everybody, but he's actually pretty happy there. Anyhow, I just kind of wanted to double down a little bit more on this whole thing with Canada, right? So we are here today celebrating the birth of, America, and arguably the history of the genocide is not to be celebrated or validated or anything like that. Even though historically speaking, all land has been conquered or stolen, right? That doesn't
unless the earth is flat and hollow and there's lizard people and aliens.
So are you trying to tell the stream you're an alien, Jem?
Dave the Frog is an alien.
So Dave the Frog, where's the frog? You're not wearing the frog on your head today.
I am.
Oh, let me see. Sorry.
Dave is always here watching.
Oh, okay. Dave is always watching. I'm so glad to know that Dave is always watching.
Yeah.
But, as you were saying before, you don't think that Christopher Columbus would have been down with any of this, regardless of the ugly history.
Regardless of history, I don't think anyone right now is down with it.
No.
I mean, like, all the polls we can put out there in the world, it doesn't matter. We need, it doesn't matter what system. It's kind of just right now, There's this pin I have on my shoe,
Yeah?
It's for, like, pride, and it says people power. And, that's what we need right now. People power.
We absolutely need people power, right? We're celebrating the birth of a nation that, regardless of the ugly history, it's still founded on life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. We're not going to go into my whole take on happiness again. And while the Canadian neighbors are kind of watching this government, combating hate act, right, Bill C-9, which removes, religious defenses for speech and creates new crimes for intimidating access to certain spaces. In your case, right, curious. So for Indigenous communities, I'd say that this is dangerous, right? Like, let's say somebody, an elder, right? And you go to the powwows all the time. That's you guys, like, he's like
everyone all summer long. If anyone doesn't know, you should know. Right now, actually, I'll have to let the stream know two things. If you see me looking over the side and looking clickety-clacking, that's because the frog's whispering to me to type things. And two, if the powwows all summer long and all over Canada, all over America, y'all just look at powwows near me, and you'll find some local Indigenous people or natives, or the third thing, which they put on our cards, but they don't want us to say. So, yeah. But as you were saying, Red, powwows and how it'll affect Indigenous.
Well, yeah, because I'm worried. I'm worried about it.
Indigenous elders teaching, I guess, are the traditional. It's like if you go out into the country and you find a 90-year-old traditional couple, or you go into this certain. Everyone has those traditional couples, and someone like I'm talking about. They don't mean to offend people, or they do, but they just have a way of talking, right? But traditional teaching ways could probably get hit with that bill. Say if, per se, we teach someone how to make fire in a grade 5 class with a stick, and because that's how the ancestors. I mean, they could say that kids now could be an arsonist without a lighter, right? But there's also different. If you think about it like that, there's a reason for everything, which also kind of backs up your reason. It's kind of like there's no loopholes this time to get out of it.
No, I mean, you're absolutely right. But I mean, I think in particular, one of my concerns is like, you know, especially some of those, you know, in cases where they're using these indigenous methods, teaching some of these things like with the fire, which obviously I like, big surprise there. The state is demanding standardized curricula that would erase, you know, this cultural context. And so, you know, freedom very much feels, you know, geographic, and we should not be getting complacent because the trends in Canada often drift south. You know, the glitch of freedom is really attack everywhere. It's just moving faster up north. So question for you from your perspective, especially being dual citizen, is the US the last bastion of true freedom, or are we just seeing the same trends here, just moving at a slower pace?
Red, I'm gonna tell you a story. Ever since I learned how to make fire, I've loved having fires. So if I like came to your place right now, would I be able to have like a fire in whatever backyard you're at?
We're not gonna just do fire. We're gonna do ice too. You should know, I'm a combination.
No, I just want to have fire. Like if I could have a fire in your backyard, could I do that without a permit?
Well, I don't have a backyard right now. Remember, like, let's get real, y'all.
No, let's get into the specifics of this. Are you on Crown Royal land?
I'm not on Crown Royal land.
Are you on Indigenous sovereign territory?
I'm not, no.
Is there any that are near you that, you know, the thing in the US is y'all, some people who don't, you can't live on reserve unless you have status. And unless, say right now my partner lives with me. She doesn't have status, but
she's not Indigenous?
No, she's not, but she's also allowed to live with me.
Okay.
Now, my mother has been with my dad for over 30 years. She's not Indigenous, but my dad is, but she's also registered as a member of the community after a long time of residence. Now, if we look into that laws in the US, I would never, there's a reason I'd much rather go to Singapore than US. It seems easier for me there, because at least in Singapore, right, I have variety. But in the US, I just have US, Canada, and Mexico. Right? So like, I don't like the US. Not really. I like the US what y'all do, but like for like what you're saying, I don't know. I wouldn't really say you guys have everything.
Well,
I think you guys you have stock of everything.
Yes.
But you also have to fill that stock. Like I was just seeing a post today on X about the new warship that they put out there and made. I was like, that's where the Google's 40 billion went. And just thinking all these silly things. But like if you look at other countries, like I seen a post from like report like about Kim Jong-un saying he was building nuclear weapons. And then, you know, I started to think like this man's being more truthful. Like at least not more truthful, at least more open about the thing people are most worried about with him. And then that no one's focusing on that right now. We're still focusing on all of this other stuff, but like right now everyone's putting fireworks out, you know.
Yeah, can you hear them?
I can't, but we already celebrated Canada Day up here on July 1st.
Yeah.
But like something that runs through my head is in 1976. Wait, 1776. We were fighting with muskets, and now we're fighting like this. Isn't that weird, Red?
Isn't it weird that we're fighting with muskets?
No, in 1776 we were fighting with muskets, and now in 2026 we're fighting with this. What we're doing right now. Streamings and different ways of correlating free speech into X. I forget, we're live now, so like it's not just me and you just trying to figure it out, even though that's what this whole stream is about, just yapping and adding things.
No, look. I mean, there was other ways that people had to express themselves before with, I mean, that was always the case, not just with muskets. The drum is the oldest musical instrument ever. I mean, unless you want to count like the human voice, right? I mean, like the greatest instrument ever. I'm kidding. It's just like I'm the singer, so I'm supposed to think I'm the center of everything. So I'm trying to play the part here. But I mean, we've always had, different ways of communicating. There's always been ways, art has always been a form of communication for cultures, for thousands and thousands of years, sculpting in all kinds of different ways. I mean, so that's always been a form of, of communication, whatever, in terms of, mummification, right? If we're going to Egyptian cultures, I mean, I could go on and on, the pyramids, yada, yada. But the point is like, we've always had ways to kind of communicate. It's just now with like things like what we're doing with streaming. I gotta love the cars in the background. I love it. Guys, I'm not apologizing, but I'm just gonna let you know, I'm never always gonna be in one place. I literally just checked into a hotel a couple of days ago and the Wi-Fi sucks ass. So I'm here at this beautiful coffee shop called Empire Coffee outdoors, so I could stream for you all with Hidden here and get some good quality. And it's sunny in Seattle. I don't want people to know how pretty it is here because I don't want them to come. I'm kidding, half kidding, when I say shit like that. But I mean, now we just have more ways that we can communicate, right? As I've been very vocal about before, I'm a huge advocate of DAPIT, the first aggregator for AI and Web3. And I love the founder is one of my favorite founders, Habib. One of the things that he always says about technology, and I think that that's really true for here in this message, is that historically speaking, technology has always increased our, oh, what the hell? Increased our, what happened? Increased our ability for good, for bad, and just weird, right? So we certainly have more avenues to communicate and show different things now. But we've always had the ability to speak our rights, to send secret messages. Cryptography has been around since like at least like before the 9th century. I mean, we've always had that. And now with tech, we just have more ways. But actually even defining what fighting means and how we fight is very important, I would say. I'm going to let you yap because I feel like I've taken that talking stick for too long.
No, I think I should make you a talking stick.
Don't give me a talking stick. It's gonna traumatize me and make me feel like I'm teaching public school again. No, PTSD.
See, this is just another version of public school, right?
I would beg to differ. And you stopped going to public school after the 6th grade. And look how amazing you turned out. Fucking brilliant. If you were stuck in public school, you'd probably still be fucking traumatized right now. Think about it. Like, would you have started a business at 17 if you were still in public school? Because public school, that's when you start to learn, like, that, free speech isn't really free, even though we have more of it here. Don't you feel like you have more free speech because you spent years in a group home and you learned how to be an entrepreneur and have been since the age of 17? And you're always lecturing me, Red, you don't have enough streams of income. You need to get better with that.
You are right. No, you're 100% right. I don't think I would ever have even been remotely close.
Like, wait, like, I wouldn't call, okay, but I think
like when I think about it like this.
Think about it like
when I left school in grade 6, I was brought exactly into a psychiatric facility.
You were brought into a psych what?
A psych, well, not a psych ward, but put into the, how do you word it? Pediatrics ward.
Okay.
And then from there, I went, after about 6 months, I went into care. And from there, it was really the people that I met that caught me the most, not when they tried teaching me things. So, like, it kind of shows, like, exactly the school flaw right there. But like when I was in school, I remember this one day in grade 6. It was like because in grade 6 was big for me because it was the first time you were allowed out to class, right?
Mm-hmm.
And from there, I went into science class and we were doing this project. And I brought my 3D pen into class.
Mm-hmm.
And I had this 3D pen that I got for Christmas, and I was making an arthropod.
Okay.
My science teacher looked at me sideways when I brought the pen out first. She thought I had toys. And then she just said that was the coolest thing she ever seen. But then that kind of makes me realize if that's the coolest thing she's ever seen. And then I continue to, like, I have 2 3D pens upstairs. I love using them for repairing broken things, right?
Yeah.
But like, there's certain things like you just have to have that freedom in your own home. Like, I am very fortunate that my family is so. No, well, they weren't at first, but they're so open and accepting for what I like doing. Like, if I'm like, hey guys, let's go drive 200 kilometers and just go gamble at the casino today, Graham, Nanny. I say, she's like, bet. Or B, what about we go in the backyard and we go at that casino? And or not always gambling. We go on shopping. We will go find crafts and we'll build these little paintings. Because if you see the eBay stores that I make, it's right now I'm working on trying to see what things I can customize and what things I can do. I don't know, when it comes to freedom, if it wasn't for Don't Diss My Ability and certain workers saying, hey.
Don't Diss My Ability is a nonprofit organization, just to clarify for the audience who doesn't know.
Yep, they're a nonprofit organization who works with kids who need a little extra help. But when I went there, it was they said, okay, you can either go to this guy, Don't Diss My Ability, or you can go to school.
Mm-hmm.
So they worded it like this to me. Say, Nick, we can go to school, you can get this, pretty much the whole parent talk of how school important, you're gonna job, homeless, this, or we can go to school. Or not go to school, go into Diss My Ability. And once a week you'll work with him and he's going to help you build some skills for trade schools. That's how they worded it originally.
So do they only work with group homes, or does this nonprofit also have programs at public schools and private schools and open to homeschool parents? They'll
reach out to anyone, and anyone can reach out to them.
I love that! Okay, sorry, this makes me so happy.
And I was about 13 when I met him.
Yeah.
And I worked in his little office in this tiny school. And at first I thought, okay, this is going to be another one of those programs, but like bullshit, all this. Because obviously I didn't realize the values of mental health at the time. I didn't realize the values of this frog on my head.
I love Dave the Frog, by the way.
Me too. Dave is a fucking king.
Don't say that in front of Oscar the cat. He might get jealous.
He will. So from Don't Diss My Ability, he kind of said, well, I'll get in contact with all these different people and whatever you want to do. And I said, art. And he said, well, this. Because my brain, that was just, like, who's going to make money from art? Who's going to do this? I was just seeing what he'd say.
I think people, that's a whole nother thing, but we always talk about art and freedom because art is freedom.
It is.
But you do make money off of your art. You sell paintings.
He actually helped me make my first painting. Who helped you make your first painting? He helped me sell my first painting through.
They're from the nonprofit.
Yeah. So I made $100 on my first sale for my first painting when I was about 13. After about a year of trying, I said, no, let's figure out how to hydro dip paintings. I'm tired of making these designs that I love. So I got spray paint and I learned how to put it in a bucket and then hydro dip it. And pretty much is exactly how because I didn't want to buy those sheets, right? And then my nanny actually still has one because I gave one to her. Mm-hmm. And it was my workers' faces when I said I got a sale. I felt like the kid in those movies that like someone else pays them for a sale, but then I realized no one else is there for the sale, so it was a real person. And I thought they were predators or something, but no, it was just this nice couple that wanted one of the paintings. And then I kind of got excited, and like it goes on. It's like I wanted to kick butt. Like it doesn't necessarily need to be money. It's whatever's good for your mental health.
No, but
whatever's good for your mental health.
I love that. But like, see, but the kind of thing that's going on in Canada, like how much would this hinder like the different kind of art forms that kids can do, especially if it's like traditional and like, oh, well, this art is considered not safe. That art is considered not safe. And art is literally supposed to be like a safe place to, you know, express whatever it is, right? And just a place where art can be actual safety. I know I say there's no such thing as safety; it's an illusion. You know, I've said that, and I've also said, well, apparently love is supposed to be safe. Well, that's what they say. But shouldn't art be connected to love as a frequency? And shouldn't that be safe? I mean, music has always been a safe place, and music is art. So, I mean,
Love's
I guess
connected
that's
to
one of the, I
everything
guess
if
that's
you
one of the
think
things I
about
worry
it.
about. Carry on. Sorry.
Love's connected to everything if you think about it.
I guess you're right. Even to narcissists too, because they can weaponize it. Yeah, you're right. Carry on.
And,
And
but one,
psychopath.
I want to know what do you think's a glitch in freedom?
A glitch in freedom?
Yeah, like right now in this world, I know that's very openly worded, but I mean, like, what is messing up freedom?
There's a lot of things missing in the freedom. Oh, good Lord, I love it. Like, look at these people right now. They've got beautiful 4th of July outfits.
Sheeple.
Do you want me to ask, you know, what I think it's missing specifically in America? Because like
Bro.
that's a really like very broad question if I have to answer it globally, you know, to you.
Right now, me and you are at the world's meetings right now. They say, Nick, Red, it's time.
Sorry, it's getting hot.
And you know, we want you guys to make the change for freedom. What are we doing?
Well, there's a couple of things I was thinking of right now. Like if we think about, let's talk about modeling agencies for a second, or just jobs, right? Because like I was just in a space with Liz. I don't remember her last name, but it's a truth teller space. You can check my timeline. She's a wonderful host. And we had some amazing guests in there, but he said I can't show my face on here because if I speak about my views, I could get fired from my job. There's a lot of jobs where people are not allowed to, you know, talk about their political views. And to be fair, I always like to keep people guessing about my political views. I will be vocal about it to a point, but then I also want you to do your homework, and based on what I say, you can research what I'm not explicitly saying, but I'm saying, right? But I mean, that's a real problem where there's just certain things they can't talk about. And I guess like part of corporation mentality, that's part of it. And, you know, I had a friend who said, well, freedom of speech is really, that's not supposed to protect you at all in the space of a private company, right? Private companies, they're supposed to have the right to tell you what to say and not say because they have a brand to represent. And it's like, okay, like that's kind of like a nuanced discussion, right? Now, you're the head of BBWCM, and for those of you guys don't know, that's Hidden's community, billionaires with big common minds. Did I get it right?
Billionaire brains with common mind.
Billionaire brains with common minds, right? Like
Yeah.
if you had somebody that was representing the brand that was disrespecting the brand or being, you know, blatantly disrespectful, yeah, maybe you might not want to have them part of your brand anymore. But if somebody just has a view that maybe differs from yours on a different, you know, subject, and they're not giving out hate speech and they're not disrespecting anyone, would you say, you know what, this person cannot be part of BBWCM? I just don't think that's your vibe at all, unless they were actually giving hate speech towards someone. You probably would be like, wouldn't you want people who are representing your community to embody what we talk about every fucking week on here, our values, you know, anti-censorship being a big one.
Regardless if they're whoever they are, when they use whatever we make, right? they're gonna have to end up doing something good, regardless.
Yes, but I'm just saying, like, if somebody has a view,
and if they
don't agree with.
embody that, right? So depends. So if we're talking about like I hire another person, we hire another person right now.
You guys do hire people, you know, in your company right now.
Yeah. So like you, mutual partners. We'll say that.
We're sovereign partners, guys.
Sovereign partners. So right now, say like you, we do another thing like you, and that person starts acting very weird. I don't know. I would just give them what they want and like kind of like a severance pay, and then dip, and then that's about it. And they can go do whatever they want in their own world, and I will keep my files of whatever they're using, depending if they're like coding and or building accounts, eBay, commerce, crypto trading, gaming skins, gambling. You know, there's a lot of fun things you can do with AI. Multi-market manipulation.
Yeah, but this doesn't have to do with like you saying that people cannot express their views.
No,
Whereas
I
a lot
mean,
of people have jobs. A lot of people have jobs where they can't, or they'll get fired, and that's a real problem. And
I feel like professionalism. There's a difference between like a comfortable workplace and professionalism. Like if you're working at a McDonald's, it's going to be way different if you're working at SpaceX, right? And if you're working at SpaceX and you work at McDonald's, you're going to be way different than the person that switched your place, right? So
yes, I think let me get a little bit more specific. I'm not really talking as much about workplace banter, because obviously you're not going to bring up some really charged discussion on a lunch break, whether you're at McDonald's or whether you're working at SpaceX. Let me be more specific. Like us, what we're doing right now, we're live streaming, right?
Yeah.
People telling people they can't express their views on social media, right? Like, let me just talk a little bit about something that kind of creeped me out. Like, although I'll admit at first my ego felt kind of good. And then it was just like, let's leave that ego away. Come on, that was harmful. I remember I was so excited when I got picked up by Avanti Modeling Agency. I was like, oh my God, I'm a pretty girl, mama. Okay, for those of you who don't know, that's a bad joke. It's from the movie Gypsy. If you know the movie, then you know it's a really bad joke. But then I get in there and they're like, we don't want to know any of your political views. Like, no, you are not supposed to post about anything ever political. Like, not even, and it's just like, well, crypto could be considered political. AI could be considered political. Anything could be considered political. And it's like, no, we just want you smiling, pretty face, smile for the camera. And it's just like, oh my God. Like, and like at one point, right, I was working on a political campaign, strangely enough, on my feet for 10 hours a day. And then it's like, you can't post anything. And then, well, you can't post anything that actually expresses your views, right? And then it's like, oh, then walk on heels for 2 fucking hours on camera for taking class. And I was just like, you know what? Like, this is a little bit restrictive. And it just made me think, like, you know what? Maybe they do have, like, if they have the right to say that because they're a private company and they're not the government, although work for the government and see how much freedom of speech you have there. Yeah, in certain places. But I just kind of feel like for different agencies, wouldn't it be nice if there was just like different models that didn't, you know, own or had other connections to some of these bigger outlets where people could model, where you just didn't have that. And it was like a statement saying, we don't try to censor our models. We want to make sure they're respectful, right? Because you said you would absolutely not want to have someone be BWCM if they were not, you know, in alignment, if they were not producing good comment or they were being like disrespectful. But like, it's just kind of like a norm. And it's like, oh, you know, you can't say anything. And we're connected internationally to this agency in London and blah, 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 blah. It's just like, just smile, look pretty, shut the fuck up. But like, that's normal in a lot of places. And I just wish that there was, you know, agencies that were actually kind of preaching the opposite. And they'd say, don't work for some of these freelancers. They could be scammers. And it's like, what the fuck do you think you're doing to me? Making me try to pay you thousands of dollars and then saying I can't audition for shit for almost a year. And then you want to restrict my freedom of speech? Fuck you. And if you're listening, fuck you. Carry on.
And if you're listening, we love you. No.
Ah!
And Canadians always say sorry. Now, drugs.
Sorry. Now I know you're just trolling me now.
Now, I don't know. It depends. Like in that case, yeah, just it really depends on what you're looking for, what agency's there, what's going on, and a lot of these systems are absolutely rigged to the core. And in order to burn these bridges, you kind of need to like do what Elon did when he bought X.
Oh,
you know what I mean? Like that's the best example of like burning these bridges is what Elon did when he bought X, firing pretty much 90% of the employees there and replacing them with AI, and then hiring thousands of more employees to work there, right? And you kind of, people just don't know where to find these. It's kind of like finding Nemo. You know, you got to find which stream that the turtles are going, right? Some streams go some way, some place goes the other ways, but Dory and Nemo don't know where the heck they're going, right? But if you just, you need a turtle to go with you down these streams. And I'll say, like, even with the modeling thing, it very well could be like, say, you learn from your experiences, and then boom, 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 boom. You're now a turtle, and you can make these streams, and then more turtles follow your stream, and then it's very much that, and that's the solution. And if you know what that is, what I'm referencing is it's pretty much just an algorithm. It's a simple algorithm, and you can put it into test hiring. And it's like making apps. There's a lot of ways to interpret the turtle and the turtle streams, but essentially you just need to find the right people and guide them down the right path and know what they're looking for and know what you're looking for and not abuse what they're looking for, right? And a lot of these times they'll just know sometimes they'll know that they're the only options. So I don't know, maybe sometimes autonomous options are the best option, you know? Independent options are the best option. Apparently today they are. And sovereign options are also the best option every day, apparently. I feel like I would utilize AI the whole way. Like, you treat it as if every job has the utmost qualities. It doesn't matter if you failed, what your grades were in class or college or whatever.
It doesn't.
As long as you can pass the same generic test that everyone passed, like we were saying last time. How many times do you need to go see a driving instructor? More than like twice after your driving test, right?
Yeah.
When you do like it's once you're set, and sometimes you need to keep up and Google certain road laws. Oh, the architecture changed, different engineering. Oh, we got roundabouts now, and then different things like that. But people will adjust. You just gotta find their turtle streams. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, Red?
On turtle streams, or exactly like you just said a lot right there. I love the stream of consciousness, William Carlos Williams vibe. But like, can you be a little more specific for me?
Like, what is your thoughts on the easiness of finding these places that are good to work or be at or build at?
Or build with.
Yeah.
I mean, I found you pretty. Was it easy to find you?
No.
What do you think?
I mean,
or actually,
I'm in plains.
We found each other, right?
I was always in plain sight.
I didn't meet you. I didn't even know you in the Sweet community until I had been, a good part of the Sweet community for over a year, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We knew about you, though. We knew about everyone.
Well, yeah, your company knew about everyone because you've worked with a lot of creators.
We've been keeping track of everything.
Yeah, you guys do keep track of everyone. So yeah, but I think what you're moving more towards is like just trying to find places where you have more freedom. But here's the thing: if law prevents you from even pursuing that freedom, right? You know, I said the other day in the stream, whatever the fuck happiness is, like, let's pursue purpose, right? Because happiness comes and goes, but we always have purpose, right? But purpose is, you know, a kind of happiness in itself, because it's always constant, right? But if you can't pursue that because the law kind of keeps you from doing that, well, then that's a problem. Now, if somebody wants to be assholes and say, I don't want you doing this and I don't want you doing that, okay, you know, maybe they do have a choice to do that. But on the other hand, it's like, well, why would you want to be associated with them, especially if the law protects you to be able to be a part of another community or start your own community where you can have more freedom? Why wouldn't you want to be there? So if you're struggling for those kind of like opportunities, though, like sometimes people do have to leave their country. Sometimes they do have to. Sometimes they can't just be like, well, I'm just going to find someone like Hidden Gems, aka Nicholas Paul, Dave the Frog, and what's your turtle's name again?
ᚱᛖᛊᛊ.
ᚱᛖᛊᛊᛊ. You sent a clip to me about that. Yeah, I mean, like, but so I still think we do need to address like why it's a problem in some of these places, and you know, it's still a bit of a culture here, you know, culture of war, right? Most Americans think that July 4th, 1776 was about freedom for everyone. But, you know, if we talk about, you know, the Royal Proclamation of 1763, why is it that document like the original sin of like American independence and how it connects to like today's crypto movement? Okay, so let's bring the conversation to crypto for a second. Like, if you're looking for freedom, no matter what country you're in, sure, you can, you know, hopefully make the law better, or you can flee to another country, but you can always find loopholes, or you can always find ways to have freedom that you didn't before. So in honor of, you haven't gotten a chance to meet him, but you will. Libertez, he's a baker. Guys, that's a marketing term for validator. He's a validator in the Tezos community. Fun fact about him, he fled, you know, the country where he was in, to Venezuela, right? Crypto is very serious for him because of having freedom and things like that. And so, I mean, I think that, I mean, it's well, if you understand even the history of that, you understand that you should try to use crypto for freedom in different ways as much as you can. Sometimes we haven't like formulated the ideas to, you know, have more freedom. We've talked with decentralized scientists who didn't have freedom in areas of research, didn't have, you know, in other spaces, freedom to necessarily record everything so that it gets recorded, which we can do with the transparency on blockchain. You know, the freedom of cryptography to be able to send messages. You know, ultimately, crypto should be about freedom. Have we lost our way here and there? Absolutely. Some people are always going to abuse it, but like, if we're talking about what do I think are ways to freedom that you can do in the meantime, you know, besides leave the country, you know, I mean, like crypto is one of those ways that you can have more freedom over your finances, right? Because there is no freedom without financial freedom. But if you don't understand what the financial freedom of crypto can do, and if you don't understand the history of that, which we'll get into in a little bit, then you might be hard pressed. I don't know, how much should we admit about our ignorance about crypto from the past, or not ignorance, but naivety about some of the history? We've talked about this openly on Spaces before, Hidden, but like, it's like how many times I mention about the shitty things I used to say about the Solana community.
You're talking about rug pulls.
Rug pulls, yeah, but like, okay, I used to think decentralization was just marketing speak. I used to think that remember, and you admitted too, like, I was like, oh my God, I'm Lex Tixic. I used to think that all the people that wrote about cypherpunk, I used to think they were just saying cyberpunk until I started seeing it in more and more people's profiles. At first, I just thought, and then I was like, oh, they're just being poetic, and decentralization is market speak. You know, I literally thought all of this stuff, and it's just like, oh, libertas, oh, da, 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 da. Like, I thought all these people were just poetic. Decipher, it sounds like cypherpunk, it just sounds like Decipher, isn't that cute? Like, I didn't know. And a lot of people, because they don't know the history of what crypto was intended for, they don't know, a lot. I mean, they maybe have heard of like the white paper, but they don't know, about how this has always been intended as a movement for freedom, and they don't know that. And I didn't know it either. I thought it was just I honestly thought I was almost gonna like leave crypto because I was just like, oh, it's just a bunch of scammers. Carry on. Carry on.
I mean, it's not even about good actors or bad actors anymore. It's
Yeah.
about if you look at the software, you know what the project does, and you have that knowledge to look at it, and just know what's going on, and you still choose to buy in, pull, and put the car on it. It also ties into why they think they should censor it, right?
Why do you think that they should censor
like
crypto?
certain governments after it's been inactive for over 3 to 4 years, we're going to just compromise it and take it to our federal funds or stuff like that. It's very much crypto is because you can't eat money. But what's better than something you can't eat and cost money to make? Something that is free and not real and still does the same thing. So, and hey guys, if we stop eating our money, we can maybe save the earth so we can make more money.
What?
Via crypto. And then, imagine it comes, like sometimes I sit there and I'm thinking, like, what if there's just like 50 fucking government officials at the White House saying, yeah, this coin I made today is going to get us a lot of tax dollars. And it's just sitting there in X spaces. If you don't click on links that you don't know from strangers, it doesn't matter if they're online. It doesn't even matter if it's us. Even if it looks like an official www.com, it can still be a boomer. Google just got called out for doing fake information, telling us to eat rocks. As much as I want to eat rocks, I don't think it's good for me.
You don't want to eat rocks, don't say that.
It shouldn't be good for me, but like Google said it was. And they're getting called out for that. And it's like Wikipedia. Did you see the new Wikipedia ads?
I have not seen them. No, I make fun of people for thinking that Wikipedia is like the be all end all, though. I have been doing that lately.
Wikipedia,
no, but yeah.
They've been posting like different advertisements about pretty much it being the no all end all. And I find it hilarious. I've been seeing those right after Google gets called out for not being the no all end all. And I don't know. But what I think crypto is also, people don't talk about, crypto could be a giant help for different communities around the world that aren't just on Indigenous or Crown Royal land. Crypto will help, like, with everything related to
I'm sorry, you're cutting out. Crypto will help what?
Crypto will help fund everything related to that, regardless if it's a stable coin or not. If you just use the USD through some of these platforms, the fees aren't people always think about fees scams. Like if it's on your app store and on your Samsung app store or your Apple app store, I feel like it should be fine. Like you should know it's fine.
Well,
right?
No, I don't feel good about all stable coins, especially if it's Polygon or it's ETH. I don't necessarily always feel good about it. I don't necessarily feel good about any coin. If it's a coin that can be censored, if it's a coin where, it's easy for my funds to be stolen, why would I? So that's what I mean is like some of these networks have lost their way. They've lost the purpose of what, crypto was supposed to be. And that's why it's important to be vigilant. That's why it's important to understand original intent and history, right? For everything that matters. But I'm going to be honest, not like I'm really good at being dishonest, but I do lie sometimes. Yeah. I don't want to lie to you guys and say that I never do that, because people who say that they never lie, guess what? Those people are fucking lying. But you know, anyhow, just in terms of like, you know, the whole, you know, thing for that, like, I'm embarrassed at times when I didn't dig deep enough to look at the history, or when I thought somebody was being poetic, or when I thought decentralization was marketing speak and not actual measures, you know, measuring things that, you know, how something doesn't lead to a single point of failure, right? And there's many coefficients. It can be measured with math, you know, I mean, there's a lot of things. And then, you know, then also, you know, the, you know, scalability is also part of it. We just, as we know, as I got you into following Justin Bonds, what's one of the things that he hammers into the ground constantly is the combination of decentralization and scalability, and how the importance of those two things, you know, those two things really are what leads to freedom. Because if you don't really have both, then, you know, that becomes a problem. Because without, you know, decentralization, we have single point of failure. We can have censorship. We can have funds being stolen. But without scalability, who's really benefiting from it? Someone with a 3-inch dick who's like sitting in their mom's basement with a Raspberry Pi, you know, good for you, bro. But like, it's supposed to help the whole world. Anyhow.
Right.
I know you have some thoughts about that.
I think you're right. It was supposed to help the whole world, and it's not.
Yeah, it is. But yeah, I'm embarrassed to think that I'm embarrassed that I didn't dig deeper when until later. I'm embarrassed that it took as long as it did, but I guess it's time to kind of like let that go, because then I could be embarrassed about any time that I didn't research something enough, or research something properly, or worse yet, not pay attention to my intuition.
You
Right?
know, some people think intuition and role models and all this different stuff is needed to be there, but like at the end of the day, you got that voice in your head.
At the end of
Like,
the day, what?
At the end of the day, you got that voice in your head, and like you have all the tools in the world now. Like, imagine what Christopher Columbus could do with Python and a bit of Gronk and some Goose. Like that would be scary.
What he's referring to, if you guys don't know. Do you want to tell the audience what Goose is, because they may not know?
Well, I'm still learning about Goose because you were showing me it, but it's pretty much like it's like Captain America, not Captain America. It's like Iron Man. It reminds me of Iron Man, and it reminds me of a lot of what Project Glasswing looks like, which is another AI project. But this one is fully out and released and able to use, which is called Goose AI. But it's going to be helping us develop a lot of our apps and functional tools. But like, if we can do this with a little bit of Wi-Fi and an Ethernet cord and a keyboard and a mouse, actually the keyboard and mouse is optional if you have a laptop. And it's like, the whole thing behind it is you can do it with nothing. So like, the fact that you can have freedom with nothing should be pretty simple and should help us all. But you know, I don't know, if Amazon sent us a little starter kit, that would be pretty cool.
A starter? You mean like a sovereignty kit, or
Pretty much.
Why would Amazon do that? It's centralized.
Same day shipping.
That's hilarious. Like, you're hilarious right now.
I know, I'm a comedian.
Are you trying to troll me?
I would never troll you. I'm always trolling you. But right now, it's, I don't know. We have I hear the fireworks now.
You can hear, well, no, that's just cars in the background, but people did have high fireworks earlier. Yeah.
See, we had a 30-minute show, but see, like, I don't know. History rarely repeats, and when it does, it's pretty open and shown, right?
Yeah.
So, for it to be like not be fought with muskets and stuff, and, I don't know. Right now, our version of celebrating is doing this. Other people's versions of celebrating are doing other things, right?
Okay.
But like, it doesn't really matter what you celebrate or how you celebrate as long as you're just free. So like, you know, cast some spells on you, do some witchcraft, you know. What is your thoughts on that, Red?
On how you celebrate things?
Because at the end of the day, it's all for you. For you, myself, everyone else.
Wait. Do you want me to start singing? Right. It's all for you. Sorry, I couldn't help it there. Yeah, I mean, but freedom to to celebrate how you want to celebrate something. I mean, like that goes back to the right to privacy, right? There's a lot of things people do. I may not necessarily agree with it, but it doesn't matter. As long as you're not fucking forcing it upon me, and as long as the people involved, there's consent, then that's fine. Now, if somebody's consenting to something, like that they don't really understand, that's awful, right? Like, if you don't think that I'm going to report your ass to Child Protection Services, think again, buddy. I will. If you don't think that if I hear somebody screaming that I'm not going to call the cops over that, yes, I will. I don't give a fuck if you feel like, oh, you're consenting to it. If this doesn't sound like something that's consensual to me, or it doesn't sound sane, right? Because even if somebody, they think they're consenting to something, if I feel like this is violent, I'm going to call the cops on you. I don't give a shit. And I know, like, the cops are not always amazing. I trust you. I have stories about that. We're not going to go into that today. But sometimes they do need to get involved. But yeah, I mean, as long as what you're doing isn't like harmful, like, it doesn't matter if I don't agree with what you're doing. Go ahead and fuck watermelons if you want. Not my business.
Fuck a watermelon.
It's a bad joke, I mean, like, look, I'm just saying people do some whack shit in the privacy of their own homes, but I don't have to agree with it if it's not affecting me. That's their freedom. That's their choice. Because they should also, because part of freedom is the right to privacy. It's about all the things that we talk about, or that we've kind of like been talking about too. And I do think that this thing in Canada is kind of, creepy. Like, let's say if you encrypt your communications, your data, your AI models, the state can't necessarily censor. The state can't censor what it can't see, right? So if we're talking about
it can charge you for what you are hiding.
Can they charge you for what you're hiding? I mean,
if you were hiding anything, that makes it seem like we're hiding like nuclear codes. Like, no, like, say it's situational, dependable, varies per case. If you look at the Canadian laws.
Well, okay. The genocide that we talked about earlier, like, that is real, right? But making it a crime to question specific narratives does set a dangerous precedent, right? So in the 90s, they argued that cryptography is the digital equivalent of the Second Amendment, right? So just as you have the right to bear arms against tyranny, you have the right to bear encryption keys against surveillance. And cypherpunks like John Perry Barlow saw that the code could create spaces where the state can't read. And that kind of like just supports kind of like what I said earlier. And so you said you'll be charged no matter what, but question from your perspective, do you feel that this impacts the ability, to have honest conversation about reconciliation?
I mean, it's the same concept as if you're not comfortable telling something to a counselor or a therapist or a psychologist or a doctor or a cop or ambulance rider or a firefighter or any emergency response or government official or a friend or family member or anyone, is what I'm trying to say. But like, if you don't feel comfortable saying something, it's really about, at the end of the day, what they think you'll do with that information. And right now, there's so much information being made and developed and used and created and mass produced. It's no longer about the countries being the enemy and different governments and different politics and religions. It's now we have a whole new system like that, and it's the internet.
And
I find that they are Well, to be honest, they're just as scared as us. At least companies Google, Anthropic,
Are they scared of
BlackRock,
us?
100%. Yeah, they're scared of me because I have a frog on my head. If I didn't have this frog here, boom, gone.
Well, I mean, like, you are pretty outspoken.
I don't like.
But you're not. You're always respectful. You're always respectful.
We gotta remember, and for the audience, like every word we say on these streams and X Spaces, I'll copy and paste it all into an AI. I have a little thing on the side of my screen.
Oh no, should I start censoring myself a little more? I'm kidding.
Nah, sorry, I got you logged. It's already too late.
You've been studying me online for a couple years. That's okay.
You were just in a group file with about 100,000 other people.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, just as much as I was in a group file of 100,000 people with yours.
100%.
100%.
Yeah, no, I mean, like, okay, if they're scared of it, they're scared of it. But like, you do feel like it's a good way, the encryption platforms, to run
100%.
your own servers. And like, you are a big proponent of sovereign AI, and I got you using Goose because I wanted you to be able to protect your privacy more.
That is true, because everything I do is on open source AI. It's mainly for the fact that I want everyone to know what I'm doing. And with Goose, it's just going to help me accelerate the fact. Because just because it's hidden in the background officially now doesn't mean it's not going to be posted in the shade later, right? So but then again, this project's been plotted since 2018. So there's still a lot, and you have been doing this around the same time. We both pretty much started around the same time, around 2018.
No, you're right. If you're going back to people being afraid to speak, right? If you're afraid to speak because you might get fined, you might get arrested, that's not right.
She's gone. You're
right?
back.
And it's not a justice at all. Yeah.
You're back.
Okay?
I didn't hear a word you just said. You're back.
Oh, okay, that's fine. I'll just say back the important thing that I said. As you know, we're streaming on Rumble, and we're also on other multiple platforms, X, Facebook, because of StreamYard, YouTube, yada yada. And platforms now are actually under pressure globally to censor content, right? Such as the Canada's Online Harms Act. Do you worry about independent media becoming the only place for real talk? And really,
I'm excited for it. Like, she's gone. She's gone again.
Okay, already a big thing because sorry, what?
You're back.
Hello?
Hello.
Am I cutting out?
Just twice. You've been good the whole stream.
Okay, well that's good to know. Well, I mean, mainstream platforms are terrified of the fines, so they'll over-censor and they'll take down anything remotely controversial to be safe. But that's why us streaming today on platforms like Rumble, which we are, really matter. And I just signed up for Rumble about a week ago. So it's not about just where you stream. It's always about who owns the infrastructure. It's always about the people behind any of this technology, no matter what you get. So if payment processors or internet providers get pressured, right?
Internet providers get pressured because they have the servers, they have everything.
Can get shut down. Allows but I mean, it's literally an economic engine for free speech. Imagine a world where you stream on a decentralized platform. Well, actually, in some of these platforms already exist. The Arena app is another one, but they use AVAX. That's their main coin. But imagine if you stored your content on like a distributed network, right? That the state can't touch, right? So this isn't just about avoiding censorship per se. It's about building an economy you know, for creators. I mean, and what's the next move for creators? I mean, obviously, like, keep diversifying, since you have been passionate about, and not just passionate, but convicted and devoted.
The aliens are censoring us. They must know. I think they must know.
Creators, you know, for more advice that you would get over expression and what they do.
The aliens took you out again, Red. I think the mole people are listening.
No, you know what? It's not that. Like, I'm gonna be honest with you. Like, I only have so much power left on my laptop because I'm outside and I'm not plugged in. That's what's going on, because I cannot stream inside with the beautiful screaming that's happening inside. I have low power, so I can only.
She's gonna die. It's more than aliens. It's a lithium mine.
I think maybe can you hear me enough to, guys? Hello?
Hi.
Can you still hear me?
I can.
Okay. I'll just try to wrap it up because my computer's dying here. Well, we started it out today, you know, looking at both things. We started with fireworks, and we know about the story of July 4th, and we've been getting a little bit more into that. But the real hope, right? The real glitch in the matrix, right? Kindness is strategic, right? If you've ever seen that movie, In Everything, Everywhere, All at Once, great movie with Michelle Yeoh. Wayman Wang says, "When I choose to see the good side of things, I am not being naive. It is strategic and necessary. And I know you see yourself as a fighter. I see myself as one too. And this is how I fight." I think it's important for addressing how we fight, especially since we're talking about freedom today. I don't know if you've ever seen that movie, if you have any contents about that before we kind of wrap it up today.
You know, I've been thinking about it, and if I could, I say this on every stream, but I want everyone, you know, no matter if you hate Elon Musk as much or love him, you know, just know that X is one of the biggest forms of freedom of speech that is left out there.
It's true.
There is no platform like X. Yeah, it's sad. You'll go from genocide to Alibaba to advertising. Yeah, but you can also utilize this platform. This platform is very unique in a very way. And that is why me and Red have been utilizing it, especially independently, even before we met each other as this. So if there's anything I'd say is, if you want to know more about what we just said, even if you guys couldn't keep up, even if we were rambling like we planned on rambling, just know that pretty much all you need to do is have
an
AI next to you, and that's it. But anyway, we gotta go. Peace out, Gems.
No. It's just like I don't want to cut out and then I can't like end the stream and then I have the camera left on for 8 hours like happened to me before.
Damn. That was we should have got paid for that one.
No, that's a good stream. I had a lot of fun with you today, just like interesting circumstances. Just think about how we can fight. How do we fight for freedom in the right way? How we fight with kindness. And just remember, when people say kindness is weakness, just remember it's intelligence. Because it takes intelligence to be kind. And intelligence is a practice and it's a discipline. And it's the strategy by which Jem and myself and the frog want to fight today. Happy 4th of July, everyone. But globally, we all support the fight for freedom. Bye, guys! Peace!